When we're betting on the don't pass, the don't come, what we call the dark side of the craps table, one of the more confusing bits tends to be the odds that you can lay on those bets. It's confusing because the math isn't natural. It's a lot of fractions. You're actually adding backwards, and it can be intimidating to some players. So what we're going to do in this video is break down how the odds are calculated and give you a couple of easy to remember tools so you can lay the proper amount of odds and also make sure you get them set right on the table and really understand what payouts you're going to get back. So with that said, let's go ahead and explore what the dark side odds look like. I'm John. This is ProCraps. Let's get after it. Let's start with a quick overview of how don't pass odds work before we head out to the table. So the way that they work is that you're going to have to lay odds based on the probability of a number rolling versus the 7. So in all cases, on the don't, you're on the 7. You've got 6 ways to win. And against the 4 and 10, you've got 3 ways to lose. So effectively, you're a 2-to-1 favorite, which means you lay odds in units of 2 to win a unit of 1. So you're going to lay 2 to win 1. It matches exactly the probability of the dice. The 5 and the 9 work the exact same way. In that case, there's 4 ways to roll a 5 or a 9, 6 ways to roll your 7. So you're a 6-to-4 or a 3-to-2 advantage against the 5 and 9, which means your odds are going to be laid in units of 3. You're a 3-to-2 favorite. You're going to lay 3 units to win 2. So lay 30 to win 20, and so on. With the 6 and the 8, there's 5 ways to roll a 6 or an 8. There's 6 ways to roll the 7. So you're a 6-to-5 advantage over those numbers, which means your odds that you lay are in units of 6. You're going to lay $6 to win 5 or $30 to win $25. That's the way that the basic calculation of odds works. Remember this little trick. $30 is always works for all of them, right? $30 is a good odds bet for the 4 and 10 because you can win 15. It's a good odds bet for the 5 and 9 because 30 wins 20. It's a good odds bet for the 6 and the 8 because 30 wins 25. Multiples of 30 always work. It makes the math really easy. Now, on the maximum side of the table, you'll notice that most tables are labeled as 3, 4, 5 times odds tables. And on the pass line or the come, that means you can place that many odds, 3 times the 4 and 10, 4 times your flat bet on the 5 and 9, and 5 times your flat bet on the 6 and the 8. On the dark side, that 3, 4, 5 indicates how much money you're allowed to win against each number. So with the 4 and the 10, you're allowed to win 3 times your flat bet. So the max odds that you can lay are the odds that would win you 3 times your flat bet. That's 6. So if you have a $10 flat bet, your odds would be 60. Cut in half is 30. That's 3 times your flat bet. The 5 and 9 work the same way. The most you can win on the 5 and 9 is 4 times your flat bet. And once again, if you have a $10 flat bet, 6 times that flat bet, or $60, wins you 40, which is 4 times your flat bet. And the same math works on the 6 and the 8, where again, you can win up to 5 times your flat bet. So a $10 bet on the 6 or 8, $10 don't pass bet, the max you can win is 5 times that, or 5 times that bet. You lay 60 to win 50, which is 5 times your flat bet. So 3, 4, 5 odds means you can win 3 times, 4 times, or 5 times your flat bet is the max you can win. And the secret to this, in all cases, just bet 6 times your flat bet, and it works for all 3 number groups every single time. Nice and easy to remember. Now, there's a lot more to it than just that. So what I want to do here is bring you back to the table and demonstrate some of this stuff with chips and live play. So let's go ahead and switch over and look at the odds on the don't pass and the don't come at the table. Let's revisit the way that the don't pass works. Get the stick out of the way for us too. So on our flat bet on the don't, let's use that quarter as the example like we always do. This bet, while the puck is in the off position, is vulnerable. This bet can win on the 2 or the 3. It'll lose on the 11. It'll lose on the 7. So one of the things we talked about in our previous sessions about the don't was getting this bet through. Now today's going to assume that we got the bet through, that there's some point established. Let's say it's the 5 for right now. Let's assume that this bet got through. And now you've got a flat bet on the don't pass. Now, what you want to do as a don't player, if you want to play the odds, or get more money onto this bet, stack it up somehow to make an attack. One of the things that you can do is what we call laying odds. Again, this bet, you're the favorite. Let's use white chips to kind of show this. And I'll show it here. Let's do the 9. I'll do on this side of the table. The 5 and the 9 have 4 ways to roll. The 10 has 3 ways to roll. And the 6 and the 8 both have 5 ways to roll versus the 7. I'll put the 7 here next to our don't. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ways to roll a 7. So you're always the favorite. Once a number is established, you've got 6 ways to win this bet versus in the 9, 4 ways to lose that bet. You're a 6-4 favorite. If you go back to school and do your fraction reduction, 6-4 is the same as 3-2. And that's how the odds pay. So when you look at this bet here, this is a flat bet. You're a 3-2 favorite. You're going to win even money when you're the favorite. That's how that bet works on the flat side. On the odd side, it's different. The odd side, you have to lay extra to win less. In this case, when the number is a 9, because you're a 3-2 favorite, you've got to lay your odds so that you can lay 3 to win 2. Odds here must be divisible by 3. I'm going to use $30 as the example, and normally you'd lay $30 odds like so. You put your odds over here, lay them out. 30. I'm going to do it with red chips so you can see this. We're going to go red chip. I'm going to lay $30, 10, 20, $30 in red chips so that you can see how the payouts work. $30 in red chips on a 9, you're going to win 2 from your 3. So $30 will pay you 20. That's how the payments work on the 5 and the 9. So $30, that's sort of how that lays out. If it was a 10, for example, you can lay the same amount of odds. Okay, we'll lay the 10 in $30 on the 10. And again, you're a 6-3 or a 2-1 favorite to win this bet. The odds bet, therefore, again, at $30 level, we'll use that as the go-to example. $30 pays 1-2. You're going to get paid by probability. So $30 is going to pay half, or 5, 10, $15. That's how $30 gets paid on the 10 and the 4. On the 6 and the 8, the same thing happens. You're 5 ways to lose this bet, 6 ways to win this bet. At the $30 odds level, you get paid 5-6. You laid 6 times 5 is 30. So you get paid a quarter for that bet. You're getting paid 5 $5 units for the $6 for the 6 $5 units that you laid out there. And that's the basics of how you calculate your odds on the don'ts. The easiest way to remember it, there's actually two kind of keys that I gave you, I think, to remember this thing the easiest way. On the 10, it's got to be an even number. The 4 and 10 are the same. It's got to be an even number. If you can divide whatever you're betting by 2, you're going to be okay. And you've got to win at least table minimum. So if you're at a $10 table, the lowest you can lay here would be $20. I'll do it side by side so you can see the amounts here. $20. The lowest you can lay is 20. You're going to win half of your bet on a lay bet on the 10 or the 4. It's half. So must be an even number. You're going to win half. On the 5 and 9, you've got to do it in units of 3. Something divisible by 3, 30, 45, 60. If you can divide your lay bet by 3, you're going to get paid 2 on your 3. That's the simple way to remember the 5 and 9. Divide it by 3 and you're going to be okay on the 5 and 9. On the 6 and the 8, again, you got to be able to divide it by 6 to make it work because you're going to get paid 5-6. So your odds bet on the 6 and 8 have to be divisible by 6. So that's why we say go to 24 or 30 or 60. Even numbers make the most sense to lay here. So first things first, getting the proper amounts laid. And that's the number one, I think the first part of this session has got to be understanding your odds of winning your 7 versus the 10 or the 4, 6-3, 2-1. Your odds of winning versus the 5 and the 9, 6-4 or 3-2. Your odds of winning this against the 6 and the 8 are 6-5. Okay, your odds always have to match those. The odds you lay have to match those numbers. Now, when you're laying odds out here, it's been said, and I'll repeat this, you're laying more to win less. So the more that you add to your odds bet, you're decreasing the power of your flat bet. And I'll give you some examples of that here in a minute. I want to talk, before we jump into that piece, I want to give you again the kind of the key or the memory point for the max odds. Max odds on the don't pass are easy to play. They're a little bit more difficult to think through, okay? So the max odds here are simple. If you're at a $25 table, the maximum odds are always going, or it doesn't matter what the table is, the max odds are always going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times your flat bet, always. That's max odds as a lay bet on your don't pass. It's 6 times your flat bet. And the reason for that is this. Look at the numbers we have up here. The 10 can win 3 ways, the 9 can win 4 ways, and the 8 can win 5 ways. 3, 4, 5. At a 3, 4, 5 table, you can lay enough odds to win. Remember, it's 3, 4, and 5. That's kind of 3, 4, or 5 times your flat bet. That's the way this works. So on the 10, let's say the point is 10. If you lay max odds out there, 6 units, 6 units, because you're a 2-to-1 favorite, pays 3. That would pay you 1, 2, 3. That's your win here, 3 units on the 6. That's your 3 times odds. Okay, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times on the 10 and the 9, or 10 and the 4 rather, 3 times odds, 6 times your flat bet wins you 3 times your flat bet. That's how the 3 part works. If it's the 9 or the 5, 6 units pays, you guessed it, 4 units. There's your 4 times odds. Again, the odds, the laying odds on the don't, 3, 4, 5 means you can win up to 3, 4, or 5 times your flat bet. So laying out max odds of 6 units wins you 4, which is 4 times your flat bet. 6 and the 8 work the exact same way. There's 5 ways to win that bet. If you're betting max odds, 6 units pays you 5 units. And again, the math works. 6 times your flat bet in odds pays you 5 times your flat bet in payment. So it's 3, 4, 5 times. And again, on the don't side, 3, 4, 5 times odds indicates how much you're allowed to win, the max you can win, not the max you can lay. On the pass line, 3, 4, 5 is the max number you can put in odds. On the don't pass, 3, 4, 5 is the max that you can win on your odds. And it's easy to remember because what you're going to win is the exact probability of what the number is to roll versus your 6. So 6 represents the 6 ways to roll the 7. Your win represents the number of ways you can win the number. That's the easiest way to remember how max odds work on the don't pass. Now, hopefully that's well understood. And I want to talk now about the percentage of wins. So let's take all of that into account, and we'll look at, let's just say, let's go to we'll go to the 10. It's an easy one to calculate. Let's say that on the 10, you lay, we'll do single odds on the 10. So $30. We'll lay $30 single odds on the 10. $30 single odds is going to win you $15. We know this. So I'll put the wins down here. I'll put up here in the field just so we can see them. The odds will win 15. The flat will win 25. If the 7 rolls before the 10 in this situation here, that's what's going to happen. If you just had the flat bet, let's take this out of the equation. If you just had the flat bet, your return on investment, to use a term that Garrison likes to point out all the time, your return here is 1-to-1. It's 100% return on investment. You invested 25, you won 25, boom. Here, you've now invested $55 and you've gotten back $40 from that total investment. So look at that. You've invested more and you've won a lower percentage of your money back. Here you won 100% of your money back with both bets in play. For 55, you won 40. That's, what is that percentage? That's like, I don't know, 82% or whatever that number works out to be, the math on that. It's a lower percentage of your total outcome. Now let's look at it with a higher number. Let's say you go to 60 on the odds. Let's say we go to 60. Actually, we'll do 50. 50 is easy to calculate. 50 on the odds, and I'll show you something, a trick here with this type of odd. But with 50, now you've got $75 at risk to win 50. It's getting worse. if you were to lay 100 in odds, now you have 125 to win 75. If you went to the full 150, your max odds, okay, you're going to win 100 to 125 being out there. So your ROI, right, gets reduced. It takes the power of this bet away by laying more to win less. So it's a thing for you to think about. There's a bigger risk here. That's $150, $175 to win 100. That's not a great return on investment. The math there doesn't really work in terms of if you're thinking about it in purely in ROI terms. Now, this is, once this flat bet is out, the only way to increase your power. On a 10, you can't just go stacking money on top of that. They won't let you do it. The only way is to throw odds out there and increase your exposure, but increase your win potential as well. So that's an important thing to remember is although odds do suck the ROI out, it does reduce the power of your flat bet. It is the only way to get more juice on the 7 as it comes out. Now, mechanically, laying the odds is a thing. When you lay your odds, I'll give you the example with the 10 first. With the 4 and the 10, you normally lay your odds like this. You're gonna heel off your odds bet. So that's obvious to the dealer that your odds are being heeled off. And what you'll typically do is heel these off towards the direction of your dealer. So if your dealer is actually over here around the hook on this side of the table, you heel them off that way. If you're on the other side of the table, you heel them off over here. Now, for most bets, that's the way that's going to work. If your odds bet happens to pay the same as the flat bet, and here's a case where on the 4 and the 10, because it pays 1 to 2, if I lay 50 in odds, that 50 is going to pay 25, the same as my flat bet. My flat bet will pay 25 too. If the odds in the flat would pay the same amount, what you do is you bridge them like this, and it lets the dealer know, it's an indication for them to know that both bets pay the same. They can just run out there with your bridge amount and drop you the 2 units that match. So as you're calculating through things, with the 6 and the 8 and the 5 and the 9, like the 6 and the 8, for example, 20, 30 on a 6 or 8 pays 25. This is a bet that you would bridge, and they would know that both bets pay 25. So when you see somebody bridging an odds bet, the doers will do this for you. If you actually put this out like that, they'll actually grab your money and bridge it up for you. And you'll start being trained by them as you go to do that. So when you lay your odds out, heel them off towards your dealer, bridge them if the odds payment would be the same as the flat bet payment. And that's the mechanics of don't pass odds, don't come odds work exactly the same way. This is the reason why yesterday, or in our previous show, when we got a point set, let's say it was a 9, I come to the don't come, what I was doing was laying odds for a short period of time. I do the lay odds while that bet is in the don't come. Why? In the don't come, this bet would lose to a 7. This whole sequence here wins on the 7. So if I get a 1-roll shot and a 7 comes out and takes that don't come bet, what I do over here is I actually win. 30 pays 20. The flat pays 25. We'd lose a quarter here. In this case, you only lose $5, right? I would prefer you do a little higher. That's the reason why we were doing odds to protect that don't come. It's the only way to get more juice here. It's been suggested that a better way to do that bet there is to simply be here, be at a quarter, or if you're at a quarter, make your don't come a little bit less in value, right? As long as that don't come is less than your advantage here on the 7, you're going to be okay. The problem is when this goes out here, you're stuck with only $35 on the 7 versus if I did that and laid my odds and got a $25 don't pass through, now I've got $50 on the 7, which is what I'd rather have. So really it comes down to what level of exposure are you comfortable with for that 1 roll here to get that bet out so you've got 2 strong bets on the don't. So that is the initial sort of spiel on or the takeaway on how to get your odds placed correctly, what the correct amounts are, and how the max odd calculation works. So I'm going to leave these white chips up here. They're going to be in my way a little bit. while I do the rollout, but I want to roll some dice here and give us kind of a visual, if you will, on how the mechanics of odds bets work. And I'll do this today with just max odds here, and we'll do a don't and a don't come, just so you get a sense of the mechanics. So let me go ahead and switch out the table view here. We'll go to the full size table, and you'll be able to see me roll the dice and look at our outcome. Have that puck be turned off for the time being. Where are my dice, actually? The red die. Oh, and I'll put my my rack here for you so you can see what's going on. We're going to actually have 5 shooters here, and the 5 shooters are going to have enough money to do a max bet on don't pass. So here's one shooter. It'll be a don't pass bet. We'll do $10 table, $10 don't pass with $60 in odds. We'll do whatever our don't come gets to. Let's say it's the 6. We can also put 60 in odds. So what I've got here is $70 for the don't come and $70 for the don't pass. And our 5 shooters are going to be 140 times 5. That's going to be our outlay today. 140 times 5. That's going to be, what is that? 700 and change. $700. So let's roll this out. We're going to take our first shooter up front. We're going to go $10 into the don't pass. We're going to get a point established, and we'll lay max odds here, come for the don't come, and lay max odds on the don't come, and we'll do that a few times. So here we go. Coming out for the first roll. It's going to be a hard 6, a 3-3 hard 6. And as I do this, we're going to talk about some of the options that we've got. Okay. Remember from previous episode, we could have hedged on the 7 or the 11 to save this bet. We didn't do that. Now we're on the 6. It came hard. I could very easily bet the hard 6 right here. Let me move this out of the way. I could very easily be betting the hard 6 to save that bet there, because what I'm going to do with that bet is we're going to put $60 out there in odds. I'm going to lay 60 in odds on that bet. That's a lot of money. I got $70 right now saying that the shooter will not roll another 6 before he rolls a 7. So you could get on the hard 6 here to hedge that out. I'm not going to do it. Okay, for the purposes of today's demonstration, we're not going to do that. However, that is a viable and very good option for you to explore. It may cost me money in this rollout today, but mechanically, I just want to look at the basic way to bet this thing and not worry so much about the protection here. So there's a 5-4-9 for our second one. Now our don't come bet moves to the 9. And again, we'll lay our odds on the 9. When you want to lay your odds on the don't come, you're going to throw your money into the come area, or if you can reach it over here and ask your dealer, lay on the 9, please, and he will put your bets out like so. Here we go. Now we have 2 numbers established. We have a lot of risk. We have $140 out here playing for the 7. Let's see if it works. Oh, look at that. It worked out perfectly. 5, 2, 7. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to reset my rack once I get my payments. So here's how these pay. The flat bets, we'll do the don't pass first. The flat bet gets paid $10. I have $60 against the 6. 6 to 5 pays 50. 60 pays 50. That's your payment here. Up on the 9, same thing. These bets will come down, but there's going to be a $10 flat payment on the flat bet. 60 pays 40. Again, 6 to 4 is your ratio, your advantage, and that's how you get paid up there. So what I'll do is I'll take down these odds right back to my rack. That's what I started with. I'm going to take down these odds right back to my rack. That's what I started with for the shooter, other than the initial don't pass. And all of these payments now come down as a nice little profit. We actually did a good job there. Getting paid on that first shooter, 7ing out so fast. That was pretty sweet. All right, so 1, 2, 3 on the come out. Now again, the don't pass gets paid on these craps numbers. Beautiful. Little payment there for us. Comes right back in. All right, new point is going to be, again, a hard 6, a 3-3. Hard 6 is the new point. And as before, we're going to lay max odds. We're going to lay $60 on that 6. I'm going to come through the don't come with a $10 bet. which is fine. If the 7 happens to roll here, these two bets will cancel. This flat bet will lose, that flat bet will win. I'll get paid on my odds. Let's get that don't come established somewhere, hopefully somewhere good. That's a 12 box card. You'll see that it says don't come bar 12. That means it's a tie. Nothing happens. That bet doesn't lose or win. Oh, look at 2 box cards in a row. Interesting. You don't see that happen very often. And there's the 3-3 hard 6. 6 is an easy number to roll. So what happens here is this. Our don't come is going to move behind the 6. We're going to lose all of this, which is a huge bummer, right? But that will happen on the don't. Sometimes you're going to fight the point, and it's okay. Now you have an option to make. You have a question to decide. You're going to lay the odds on this number. Do you want to lay the odds right now and have them be active for the come out? You can wait a minute for the point to be established. When I'm on the don't and I've got don't come bets up here, my preferred way to play is to lay the odds and have them be active for the come out. The come out 7 is a powerful beast. So we're going to go ahead and embrace that. I'm going to pull 10 bucks out of my profits here to get the don't pass reset. And I'm actually going to pull the next 70 bucks or next 60 bucks worth of odds out of the profit section. I don't want to dig into another shooter just yet. We're going to have our puck be off and we're coming out. Look at that, hard 6 again. Wow, the 6s are hot over here, right? So we're going to lose this. It's an unfortunate outcome for us, but it was the right play to make. The come out 7 is a pretty tough one. I'm rolling a lot of 6s here, especially hard 6s. So it is what it is, right? You're going to lose a few times. It's, nature of the beast, right? Here is our lay bet. We're going to come out here again into the don't come with $10, and off we go. 7 out. So this bet will lose. This flat bet will win. And these 2 odds bets here, the odds on that 6 are going to pay 50 bucks. 60 pays 50. So if we reset the rack, I'll put the initial odds back in. I'll take my what are going to be my odds on the don't back into my rack. We're back here, set up again to go. I'm really still in a good space. I've got all the money I started with plus some profit from that first shooter still active. We'll do one more shooter, and then we'll go ahead and recap a little bit. Here we go, coming out. 1, 2, 3, the shocker. Nice, easy little bonus win down there on the don't. Haven't yet, knock on wood, seen that come out 7 really, so that's not been a big thing. All right, 3, 1, 4. This is a good play for us on the don't. However, this is a good bet to win here. What's going to happen though, we lay our 60 out here to win. That 60 is a good bet, but it only wins you 30 bucks, right? You're 1 to 2 on the 4. Let's come back out here with a new don't come bet. 7 here does a good job for us. That goes to the 5 though. Okay, on the 5, we're going to lay 60 bucks. I need $10 out of here. So now we're going to lay our 60 on the 5. So now, again, we have 140 at risk. And notice how the payout potential's changed here, right? 140 here wins you 10 and 15, so 25 bucks here. It wins you 10 and 40 here. A lot less of a win than when we won it on the 6. If we can get a 7 to pop here, you'll see the payout difference. Hopefully a 7 shows, and we can work through the numbers on that. 5, 1, 6. 4, 3, 7. There it is. There's the 7. So again, we'll pay ourselves here. Flat bet pays 1 to 1. And on the 4, your 60 in odds pays 30. So half, 1 to 2, based on probability. The 5 over here, again, the flat bet pays 1 unit, and 60 pays 40 for your odds. Let's reset our rack. I'm going to pull back the don't come flat bet plus the initial odds that we made. I'm going to pull back the initial don't come or don't pass bet and the initial odds on that. I'm going to reset this into the rack. There's what we started with. Everything out here comes back as a little bit of a profit. Where's the other quarter? There it is. And let's do a quick little math check and see what we did. We had 3 shooters, I think 4 shooters. Those are $25 stacks of reds. That'll be 2 greens. And in just those couple of shooters, we have 100 $135 in victory. Pretty good for a short session. And what you'll find is that on a choppy table or on a slightly dark leaning table, that'll happen. We even lost big on that 6, where we lost that $70 on the 6, on that hard 6 coming out, and we still ended up in profit on that shooter, on that session. That's actually a pretty good session, right? Winning $135 with a $700 buy-in, that's pretty damn close. That's pretty close to 20%. It might even be 20%. It's actually almost 20%. That's a pretty good little win right there for a super short session. Not a bad little run there. Even though we got whacked on the 6, we still recovered well. And the reason why is because when you're putting odds out there, when you're laying odds on your don'ts, you're increasing your exposure, right? You've got a lot more money at play, which means your profit potential, of course, is going to be a lot higher. And with 2 bets out there, the swings are pretty big. I think it's interesting to see that we had 2 bets with max odds. One of them lost, so it felt pretty bad. The other one turns around and wins, and then the next set of bets come through and win again. So we recovered that loss really quickly, quicker than you would if you had just, a series of flat bets out there. So the odds increase your exposure, it increases your volatility. You'll see bigger swings in both directions when you're laying maximum odds, but you can see that there's definitely potential to this strategy as well. And I think that using the odds play along with other plays is probably the way to go here. So with that said, our next venture here is going to be looking at other ways to play the dark side. Specifically, what I want to get into next is direct lays. So everything we've done so far has been flat bets on the don't, fighting that 7 on the come out and everything else. The next bit here is going to be direct lays. We can jump right on to the number we want to with a lay bet that allow us to get instant play on the 7. So for that, we'll see you on our next video.